morning. It's 4:30 in the morning, something like that. 4:37. I've been up since about 3. Years ago, this is a talk about years ago, going by my memory. Over 10 years ago, I was diagnosed with the last stage before bone cancer. It was called rheumatoid arthritis. I don't know why they call it that. How it happened was the government gave me a house, another one. Seems all their government houses seem to be devastating to me, so I rent now. I don't go through the government anymore. It's no use because they just set you up to get abused. What happened was it was a rainwater tank. It wasn't a normal plumbing tank that you have in the city. And that was our drinking water it was in the outback a bit near Roma, called St. George. And the house tap water, like washing up and things like that, was from the creek. And the plumbing would pump the water through for showers and toilet and sink to wash your hands. And there's a switch at the sink for drinking water. And one of my pets died. We buried it outside because I didn't know what to do. I've never had a dead animal like that before, ever. Maybe a goldfish. And I used to bury it in a box, a goldfish, so all the fish that I had. So, and what happened after that was people would sit out in cars outside near my house. I don't know why. And they were Department of Child Safety workers from Roma, Queensland, from near the town where I was staying in St. George. And one day they came in and took my kids, my daughter and my youngest boy. He was only 5. And they took him for no reason. They said that I was sick. And the reason why they said that was, which I didn't even know, that they had put the dead animal, they dug him up and put it in my rainwater tank. And they were the only ones that knew. No one else knew about it. And when they told me that, which I wasn't sick at that time, I started to get really sick from drinking the rainwater. I was infected with a disease which caused rheumatoid arthritis. And doctors used chemo to try and fix it. Never worked. I kept telling them I just need antibiotics. By the time, they still never worked it out. By the time a very smart doctor told me, they're from India, in Mackay, they told me I was dying by that stage. Nothing was working on me because I just needed antibiotics, but no Australian doctor or specialist could figure it out. They never asked, never talked. They just assumed they were the smartest and knew what to do, and never did. When the Indian doctors took blood tests, the files kept getting swapped. All the results kept getting swapped, and they couldn't figure out how come I end up with different diseases at different stages of these blood tests. So they tricked them and did more blood tests and got the blood tests through and told me what had happened. And when they got them, they told me that I was dying, which I knew I was dying because the disease, the infection went through my limbs and I was bedridden. I couldn't move. It was painful. I had to take painkillers just to move my arms, just to drive my car, just to walk to the toilet. It was painful, so I was dying. And so they prescribed gold. They injected me with gold, with other stuff among the gold, so that my body would accept it. And the gold weighed the disease down and killed it. And I had, at that stage, any day up to a year, and that was being generous. That doctor said they were being generous when they said up to a year. They said any time. I never told my family. I never told anybody because I don't know what to say. And I ended up using marijuana I was grey. My colour was grey and my skin was pale and grey from being sick. And when I used marijuana in a little machine, I got my colour back. I took before shots and after shots. Before I started using it and after. And I went to the doctor and showed it, and they made me smoke it in front of them on the machine, and they saw I wasn't getting high, and they saw that it was good for me, so they started buying a lot of machines against the laws of using it in Queensland. And they had people use it in their office too. It prevented my hair falling out from all the chemo, which was too late. I don't use it now and it's still falling out a little bit. I'm fairly bald at the top now and I had a lot of hair. Or because they wanted my kids. I'm not angry at them. I don't know why they want kids all the time and they wanted to send my daughter to Japan one-way ticket. And they had my son abused. Every child in Australian government care is abused. Every child. And the diseases that I had from all the torture I copped with the nails and pins under my nails and so forth. When they handed me the papers, which were blank, they handed me a heap of papers about why they're taking my child, which was all blank. They never ever gave a reason. I still don't know the reason. Just that they said I was sick. And they were the only ones that knew, so that's why I knew. That's how I knew it was them that had the dog dug up. They must have been watching me. And they put it in my drinking water. That's how bad they are in Australia. If they want kids, they will make you sick and watch you suffer and die just to get your kids. They won't do it quick. Now, why they claim they're good for kids has got me a bit baffled about humane or humans. I don't think they're humans, actually. Google took a photo of their area, their addresses, as they do to all the addresses, and it had a strange thing in the sky, like a giant aerial and a square cloud around the aerial. And I don't know if the aerial affects clouds or if It was really high up in the sky. And since I showed everybody on the internet, they had it changed. They must have made Google change it because their Australian government or some crap. They're more like, we call them in Australia Department of Pedophile Safety, because they abuse more kids than pedophile organisations ever have done in a lifetime up to today. In just 1 year, they have tortured millions of kids, and they don't think anything of it because they believe they're doing good things. They would let another worker abuse kids and they would not say a word. They have a dedication not to say a word, and that dedication was designed by Japan. So go figure with all the sending kids to Japan thing. And they were picking kids, sharing files like it's a shopping centre. Here, pick a kid. And they picked my daughter after they took her, because they thought, oh, she's good looking. One of them said in front of Jane Kerwin, which is my the step brother, the adopted, or whatever you call it. He's not my real brother, thank God. But his wife came with me to have a conversation with these Department of Pedophile Safety. And this woman kept saying over and over, she's so beautiful, your daughter. I've never seen any beautiful woman, young woman. And she kept going on. I thought, oh my God, this woman is sick. All kids are beautiful. What is wrong with her? And she said, come and see me at my motel tonight after work. I thought, no way, Lezo. I ain't going near you. But Jane turned up, and Jane told me what she said when she turned up. Jane was curious. And this woman from Department of Child Safety in Roma told her to go away. She was expecting Donna. And Jane was confused, and I was confused. I thought, oh, they're sick, they're lesbians. And I told Jane Kerwin that she must be a lesbian. She wanted me therefore to use my kid to force us to have sex. So that's what they do as well. If you don't do as you're told and have sex with whoever they want, with them or anyone, they'll just abuse your kid and keep it and torture it until you do as you're told. And if you're not into that sexual conversation or hints like me, I'm not into those hints. I'm dumb at that. I'm really a dumb person at that. I mean, people can try, and you know, the other about 4 or 5 days ago, I got a message on my mobile phone to ring the doctors about my test results. So I thought, well, that's strange because I've just seen him. So I rang them, and they said, oh, yeah, just a minute, you're married to a woman. I said, no, I'm not married to anyone. I'm 60. I'm not married to anyone. And I'm not a lesbian, and I'm not married to any woman or man. And she goes, what? You're not married to any woman? I said, no, I'm not. And she apologised and hung up. So they're obviously getting in touch as well with my doctors and talking dirty. They seem to want me a lesbian, and all my life I've been abused. And I think that's why they think they can turn me. But the thing is with a human mind, once you destroy it, you can't keep destroying it. You can't go any further. So when you go too far, then that's your own fault. If you didn't go too far, then I would be a lesbian to this day. So I stayed normal. You can't go any further. No matter what you do, and ringing people and doctors and hounding me like they do, knocking at the door, and they even hack into my computer where I go on the computer. They stalk me like mongrel dogs, and I'm 60 years old, and they still, to this day, want me a lesbian before I die. And it can't be done, because how? You know, how's it going to... You can't go back in time and change what you've done. You can't... Once you go too far with the human mind, you cannot go any further. You can't re-abuse me because you've abused me that much that it can't be undone. I can't be forgetting it. I can't go on and forget it and rah, rah, rah. It's too late. And plus the age is just ridiculous. I'm 60, which means, you know, most people around Australia have died around 50. Europeans die around any time between 70, 80 to over 100. Me being European, pure-blooded, of course I'm going to live longer, and I'm 60, and they probably wonder why. That's so. Why, you know, I'm so different when I'm not so different, actually. That's a normal number for us from Europe. But anyway, yeah, that I was dying and didn't tell anyone. And I don't know, I survived. When I took the injections of gold, you could feel a rush of gold, and it even goes into your eyes, and I saw gold everywhere. All I could see was shimmering gold. And I told the nurse that was giving me the injections, I see gold everywhere. It's absolutely beautiful. And that's what saved my life, was the gold. Oh, plus I used hypnosis, which hurt so bad using the hypnosis because my immune system was shot. I had none. So what little I had was hurting. And plus I felt it like attacking me, eating me. And then the doctors told me why my white cells were eating me, because they're fighting, but they can't see what they're fighting. The infection, they couldn't see it, so they were attacking itself, my own body. And that's what was happening with hypnosis. I had to stop that because it was, it made it worse. But the gold did all the work, and I would do a bit of arm movement to see if it would come back, and it would come back, and the gold would hit it again. And then I'd keep doing that to rest a bit, and then, you know, the next few days I would work my arms and legs to see if it would get the muscles moving and see if it would come back. And then eventually it stopped coming back. It just killed it. The gold killed it. So in my body I've got over a year's injections of gold in my body, and the doctors had to stop because I was just getting the injections just for the hell of it. And they said, you're not sick. I don't know if it was hypnosis from that doctor in just down the road, or she was from India as well, or something like that, Hindu or something. And she said that I wasn't sick anymore. I don't need these injections. And she read out the laws about it, and I had too many. I went over the date of having those injections and had to be weaned off. So I was weaned off and stopped. and it was still in my system, and things went crazy when I moved into this house from the crazy. It sends you crazy a bit. You don't seem to care what you say, so you're sort of like docile and nasty and stupidly cranky as well and weird, and you just don't care. So you talk to yourself if you want to. You call people names if you want to, even if they're nice. I was singing songs like they said they were gay, and they were really nicest people on earth. And I'd sing songs like, "Oh, you're so gay. You probably think the song is about you," all that sort of thing. I made sure they heard. It makes you nasty. And I used herbs, and I got into some spells to try and get my hair protected. And I noticed that was so healing with herbs and spells. I noticed that was also a big plus, and I couldn't understand how could that be possible. But then again, it's a different form of hypnosis without the hypnosis thing, affecting what it was doing to me, making it worse. It was different. It was more softer and, fun. And that was helping as well. So I stick with those sort of things. I don't turn my back on that, because I'm grateful for the help it gave, the spells and the calming effect and the less pain. So that's why I stick with a few spells. I don't have as many as other people. Maybe I have more than other people, I don't know. But when they found the paper and the books, I knew that was a sign as well. Finding the papers and the book in the walls when they were pulling out the walls and redoing them, I thought that was, like a message type of thing, or okay, this is you type of thing. This is it. This is for you. So that's why I keep those. And the headpiece, I wear that. I don't know what else they found. I think it was gems and things, because I'm pretty sure I saw a small bag of red like rubies and a gold bracelet. I'm pretty sure of it, with a love heart on it. So I'm not sure if I saw it in a catalogue or on TV, but I'm pretty sure that picture is in my mind, that I saw that somewhere. So it might have been a quick glance when they pulled the floor and they kept all the stuff. They might have found more as well, because there are a few tiles loose that anyone could have really, if they were strong. I'm not strong, but if they were strong, they could pull it up and fix it back to make it look like it's been never touched, and hide things under it before they put back the tile. Oh, gee, it's after 4 in the morning, and I'm sick of waking up early. So when I dying, it's sort of like, it's not a lonely thing. It was more like a relief. More like I was on painkillers as much as I could. By the laws, I couldn't take any more pain relief. The doctors weren't going to give it to me. The hospitals didn't give it to me. That was the laws from Gillard, because she went a bit mental. She wanted messiahs or something. Because of that angel accusation, they think it's real. They don't know reality, and they get stuck in that like a hell, and they get stuck in that hell over and over and can't come out of it to see reality. And she had the laws that I couldn't have pain relief. I was always in ambulances, in pain, ready to croak it, kick the bucket. I didn't care, Didn't worry me. But now they want, because there's a lot of Asians dying and stuff like that, and Japanese dying, they want help as well. So Australia, with these gold injections, can help them. They can't fix what has happened to them, but they can prevent it, whatever's spreading. They can give trials. It worked on me, and that was a pretty bad disease, to have drinking water poisoned by dead animals. That's a death sentence right there, and a painful one to die too. Very painful. It goes through your system. Everything that needs water, your skin, everything it's infected. Your eyes, your brain, everything that needs water in your body, in your system, through your tubes, through your kidneys, everything is infected. Your limbs, you can't move once it goes into your limbs. It's painful. You can even feel it going through your limbs. And so they're after to people to sell gold now so that they can get injections for the sick. But, sooner or later they're going to run out of gold, and, they're not going to take mine. I need it because gold healed me, so I wear gold on the outside as well. It's because I'm a gold person. When I infused my chair with the sun, I use gold. I'm already connected with gold. I can, if I'm sick in a certain area in my body, I can concentrate on my gold and it would be there. I can move my gold to that position to kill it. So I'm already connected to gold, which I know it sounds strange probably to some people, but that's how it is. I'm a gold person. I used to be a silver person, but I still am. I still like silver, but gold is my healing metal. And that's the story of how I found gold to be my healing partner, my best friend, and it's inside me, and I see differently because of the gold. You can't change that. It's in me. You can't. It'll eventually float through the blood. It goes through everything. It was injected in my muscles, in my ass, fat ass, and that spreads. It just travels, and it went through. You could feel it instantly. I felt it instantly. Hit my eyes, and I saw gold everywhere. And after a while, I got used to it, and it became normal to see that way. So I don't know what it's like to see without gold. If I did, I would notice the gold still in my sight because I'm that used to it. It's normal to me now to see gold. So when I take photos of something with my phone and I think, oh, how come it's not picking up that colour? That's because my eyesight is different to the phone, which happens to a lot of people. Their eyesights are different to the phone. Phones don't have eyesight. They have lenses. We have a lens as well, but it's different to a phone. Mine is totally even more different because it's gold. I see more goldish colours. And sometimes the sun will position on my window, which is over that way and you can't see. It's very dark. That way is northish. That way is west. And that way is east. And the sun would position itself. Hang on, I'll turn my moon lamp on. You might see better. It's not so bright, it's very dim. Okay, and the sun would come through that window and shine gold on me in the mornings. And I've taken photos of it, put it on YouTube. Very beautiful once you're connected with if you connect your gold with the sun like I do, and I'm connected already with the gold. There's my gold chair. It's got stuff on it. I've got plants up there in bottles growing rosemary because I like to feel safe. So this is my moon. I have this. Bought it from eBay. You can get better ones. I only got this one. You can get better ones that shine different colours. I got this one. It shines. That's the blood moon. And that's the moon. You can have it bright or dim it down a bit to really low, which affects the phone actually. And you got all the patterns on it, and I keep that near me because I am a moon person as well as sun. Because of those lunatics that attacked me on an American blood red moon and a full moon it was, they stabbed at me after I survived the being poisoned. Anyway, they abused my son very badly. First, they started off with freezing him. They locked him in a room, turned the air conditioner on and never gave him a blanket. He said he was screaming all night for me, and he's never been away from me. He was only 5. He was never abused or tortured or anything like that until they got their hands on him. And then they broke his, the next thing they did was burnt his ear with the cigarettes. And he showed me, and I asked him what happened. What was the last thing you remembered? He said a man was sitting next to him smoking. And he didn't want to say any more because he would get in trouble. The workers would never let us talk alone, so he couldn't say too much, because he'd be abused. After that, the next thing that happened to him, his shoulder was broken and they wouldn't take him to the hospital. So he never had any treatment for that. They wouldn't take him to the hospital because of the last child they had abused, and they sent to UK then after they abused and tortured him, or he died. I'm not sure. But they used my son to cover for that boy. They claimed that he was that boy. After that, they whipped his face, and they said, oh, he fell off a motorbike, bicycle, and the handlebars squashed into his face. Really. I was growing up with whips and watches to put my stepbrother to sleep when they felt like taking me out of orphanages. for a playmate, I suppose, to use for their son. They'd give me whips and clocks to hypnotise him, to put him to sleep. I'd never had toys. If I did, they took them off me pretty much straight away. Like the next day. I would never have toys for long, ever. And then they stopped giving me anything when I grew to got to age 7. I'd still be in and out of homes in different states and different towns. Anyway, back to what they did. The next thing they did was dragged him on a motorbike, and the people that filmed it, they found me in Brisbane and told me that I was very hard to find, and they've been searching for me for about 6 months or something to a year, to tell me that they filmed them, Allwoods, Sharon and John Allwoods, abusing my son, and what that these people did to him. And the Allwoods then ran and were homeless and hiding. So the people in the town hated them. They ended up on a farm, a lot of money, and I'll tell you what happened, how they got it too. They, not long after the whipping, the dragging on the motorbike, the starving, the beatings, probably rape as well, but the doctors weren't sure because they ran over him twice. And they said that covered, because it crushed his pelvis, and that covered the abuse. So he had crushed lungs, head injury, he was bleeding out, sometimes 5 times a day they were giving him blood. He just kept bleeding out. His wounds were that bad, he just kept bleeding out. He couldn't breathe, he was on a drip all the time, he had tubes coming out of him everywhere, all because of Department of Child Safety wanted my son, and for what reason? To abuse? For fun? Because of my angel accusation? Can't they understand that that's not real? It's an imagination, it's a mythical imagination for people to believe in. It's not for real. And when you attack someone that is accused as an angel, then you must have set me up to be attacked. You maybe only want one person to abuse. Maybe that's what they want. They kept saying to Jane Cohen, they only want one. They only want one. One what? One child? When me and Jane went to talk to those people in Brisbane from Roma, because I moved, I couldn't stand the people. They were attacking me because the department was sharing my files with everybody, and they made their own file stories up, like things they put on it, like I grabbed my son's hair and swung him around in a perfect circle and landed him slowly on the ground like an aeroplane. My son is taller than me and his hair was short. How the hell do you get off on these imaginary stories? And they said my daughter was raped 6 times and grew her virginity back. Wow. Just imagine. Prostitutes would be having a field day. Excuse me, price has gone up. I just grew my virginity back after having sex with 6 men. Wake up, Australia. Come on, grow brains. Your department is a pedophile racket and they use any kind of... Their head isn't normal. They don't see normal. they're pedophiles. They can't see a child as a child. They see them as grown-ups. They don't see them as children. Everyone else is too old to them. They don't see children, okay? They just see things to use. And they'll use women and the department to get it. That's why you have so many children taken for no reason, and yet you can't figure out why. And the government has busted one department. They got the whole country to go yet, and they were proud to put it on the news. One department. They've got a whole fucking country of pedophiles in that organisation running Australia because the government gave them free laws and they can't be put on media. So they're running around free doing what they want with pedophiles and kids and, and also the laws in Australia state if your child's taken, they can't claim any inheritance. So if families have lost children, they've got no one else to give it to. The department is allowed to apply for those houses and that money. And I went on site to check out all these places that Australians have no inheritance to share, and that can go on the site. You can claim for it, put in to claim for it. Well, guess who was putting in to claim for it? Department of Child Safety Workers, and even their bosses or CEOs or whatever they're called these days, from that department in Roma, Queensland. How greedy these people. So they're willing to even take your kid, sell it and abuse it, which is what happened to my son. Because of that angel accusation, my son copped abuse. All my kids have copped abuse from people because of that. It's like a sickness. It's like a religion war. And when they hurt your kids, they feel better. And when they're families, you cop a lot of families that if they're sick and they get wind that you're the one that was accused as an angel, then they want you sick. And they try everything, putting your things in your drink. They try getting into your house, which I've copped many times. And I wish I could move right now, but I can't. It's the wrong time to move. But they get in and they put stuff in my drinks, my milk. When I made coffee, I used to drink coffee. I don't anymore. And they get diarrhea from their diseases and things. It just went on and on. And sometimes they'd use the toilet. And sometimes they left things behind. And sometimes they'd take things, like a lot of private items, personal items, underwear, bras, things like that went missing. Can you believe that 60-year-old? Well, this is going back, from 50 onwards, 40 years, probably before then. But they still take personal items. They'll run over, take it off the line. And they're so fast, even if I put a piece of paper I print out outside, they would run and take that if I run inside to do something like, I don't know, turn the kettle off, turn the fans and air conditioner off, and come out, the paper's gone. They're that fast. They watch me like a hawk around here, like mongrel dogs on heat. It's sickening. I vomit around Australians. I can't, honestly, I tried. I tried to date them, but I vomit. I literally vomit. I dry reach and I can't stop it. I cannot stand Australians. They're too... I want to vomit now talking about it. But anyway, the gold doesn't change the vomiting. I suppose it makes your head clearer so you can see who you're vomiting over. Yeah, gold. The gold is my healing metal, and it always will be. And my son, poor kids, they copped abuse. I blame myself because I feel so guilty. I couldn't fight them, the government. And they use all the tricks. They locked me in a room once at the courthouse, soundproof room, told the judge I didn't turn up. Pretty sick, eh? They used to give Aborigines dates, they probably still do. They'd say you go to court, we'll send you a letter when you're going to court. They never got the letter, and the court it'd be over and done with, and they lose their kids. It's that simple. To steal a kid in Australia, just join Department of Kid Fuckers. Sorry, kid fucker. That's another name we call them. KFs. Department of Pedophile Safety. Too abusive. You're too abusive and dirty for kids, Australia. You're like diseased. You really should let China take over. Get rid of your filthy diseases so that you can be free. Your soul be free. You're that dirty with kids. You've created a disease from abusing and torturing kids for so long. Since the 30s or something, or before then, you've been abusing kids. And the government was the ones behind it to get films so that they'd film it, and they were given money. Some weren't paid for the torture, and they dump the films on people they don't like and say, well, they're pedophiles, they did this, we found these films. And they did that to those Iraqi people, or whatever they're called, Islam people or something, out there in the desert. And they did that to them. And Americans, the American Army stated that the only ones in the area was the Australian Army. Go figure. And they're all black kids, they said, that were sexually abused. And because they didn't know what they were talking about, they said, what are you talking about? What films? We didn't do that. We're at war with each other, and we don't even know why. It's because the Americans wanted their oil and Australians wanted their mines. And where the Australians were, the American Army told the truth and said where the films were found, the only people there were the Australian Army. So there you go. And people copped it here, innocent men starting businesses and doing really well, but certain people don't like it and got greedy and jealous and found films of kids abused. So they were destroyed. Australians were destroyed because of these pedophiles that are running the show. Dirty, filthy pedophiles that get all the work, all the jobs, everything, and we Australians got nothing. And most of the women are Italians. Australia must have let a whole race of Italians in Australia to just live here for nothing. Oh, and they got big houses too. Oh yeah, they got everything. Same as the Vietnamese. They let heaps, thousands and thousands of it, hundreds of thousands of all kinds of different races. But they didn't do any back checks or anything. They just let anyone in. So everybody was using Australia for prison because Britain did. They were dumping pedophiles here for a long time now, centuries now. And they'd be in jail, of course, in UK and Britain and that. But when their time was to come out, nobody wanted them. So guess where they got sent? And I watched the videos of it on YouTube, who was sent here. And changed names, good government jobs, and wow, they run the show. That's how pathetic Australians are. They really don't know they don't know anything about the evils in man. And they let foxes in, they've let toads and all kinds of things in, fire ants, everything. They're just no good. They can't run it. And I've told you that once before, many times before. Also, I told you around 10 years ago that it will come to a point where you have to choose who breathes the air. And look at now, you're choosing who dies and breathes the oxygen from oxygen tanks because of the diseases you man have created as a biological weapon just to fight off pedophiles and get rid of evil other countries wanting your children because their countries are complaining and preventing them from taking kids off them, so they look at everyone else. So that's a big worry, because man can't stop wanting little kids. They won't stop. And they'll want to use your kids to do it. And they can't do it to us anymore, because we'll stab you now. We're sick and tired of you. We're not going to cop getting tortured and abused all our lives just so that you can use us to take our kids easily. And we don't trust the police and government no more. We're going to fight. And the police only do as they're told. So if they want a kid, they'll send the cops. That's what pedophiles do. They use the government systems to get what they want. And they've got so much money now because of all the good jobs they were given when they entered Australia from UK and Europe areas, that they got money now, good paying money, and they kept us out. So if you're smart, they would bully you at school to keep you down. They'd get kids to do it. They'd get headmasters to do it, because they got everybody joining in, that much pedophiles joining together. So they abuse all the smart ones to prevent them getting the jobs, because they want the jobs. They need the money to control you. So anyway, that's how I got gold and how I got infused with gold. And gold is a significant connection to the sun. So lucky me. I wouldn't advise you to inject gold into your system, because it was injected in me with different other stuff and a certain amount each time. So it wasn't melted down clunks of gold and then injected. It was flakes, crumbled flakes with other stuff to force the body to accept it. So you have to don't try that at home. It's like a story about King Midas. He was gold as well. I think he was eating it, ingesting it or something, because you can feel it. You can see it sometimes in the surface of my skin. I can see it sometimes come through my skin like a goldy tan. It's absolutely beautiful. I love it. But it's my saviour as well. Anyway, good morning.